All right. Sorry about the delay. Okay. All right. How's everybody? All right, we got a lot of people in attendance today. Well, I guess the topic has to do with it, right? Everybody wants to find out more about ADU. Why is it that we need to know about ADU? Okay. So that's the first topic for the day. So when I send you the notification about the topics I'm going to present today, I don't always present them in any particular order, but you will generally have an idea what I'm going to be talking about for today. ADU. If you don't know what an ADU is, today you're going to know what an ADU is. The second topic for the day is probably a very important topic as well. You know, if you're ever caught doing something wrong, don't try to defend it. It is better to quickly admit it and apologize profusely. The more you try to defend it, the more trouble you get into. Okay, I think that's another thing that we should all learn to master if you want to be in sales. Third topic we're going to be talking about is that has to do with lead magnet, right? So we're going to talk about why is it that lead magnets are important to building your database. If you're going to be spending money or spending time in marketing, you're going to cast a net, you're going to need a contact information from your prospects. What's the best contact information? The best one is actually the email. If you don't get the email, or if you don't get the phone number, but at least get your email, because you can run your lead campaign using the email. And it is relatively inexpensive, but you can cast a very large net, and slowly you're going to have the fish get funneled into your pipeline. And that's how you grow a pipeline. You don't grow the pipeline by waiting for the prospect to call you. That's why they say 20% of real estate agents are doing the 80% of the business. There are good reasons for that. Because the majority of the people that enter real estate, they were not in sales. Or they don't care about being good in doing sales. They just want to do a few transactions in a year. That's the majority. But if you really want to excel in sales, you got to be a master in doing your marketing and sales. Okay, so we're going to talk about lead magnets. Lastly, we're going to talk about something that you might encounter when you go for your listing presentation and the seller is throwing all these objections at you. How are you going to handle them? Okay, we'll talk about that last, because that should not take too much time, but I have to confess though, the reason I'm saving that for last is because I was ill prepared for today's training, and the reason for that is yesterday I had to wait hours at the doctor's office. So much time was wasted waiting at the doctor's office that I did not manage my time very well. Plus, I got this listing in Harupa Valley that also needed my attention, and I also want to share with you. That listing is a good example of why you need to price a property right. See, when you price a property right, you are going to amaze your seller. For the Harupa Valley listing that we got, the seller priced it at $599 for a month. Not a single offer came in. We only did open houses for 2 days. We got 6 offers so far. Okay, and I was busy all morning and yesterday just dealing with the offers back and forth. So we're going to pick an offer today. even though we listed it at 545, which is a lot lower than the previous listing price, ultimately we got a price that is very close to 599. I mean, the highest one we got is about 590. If we do a little bit of negotiation, we might even get it higher, maybe 600K. Okay. A couple of things we changed though. We repainted the house to make the color looks nicer. We don't have all these crazy colors in the house. Okay. Repainted it. And of course, we spent money on the staging. Yeah, I could not say hello to everyone because I'm late today. But, you're all welcome to participate. Okay, I see 24 people already. I kind of like to see the attendance up a little bit. I think training is important though. Sometimes agents claim that they are not getting their training, but the truth is that they only want to be trained when they want to be trained. That's the thing. Okay, going back to what we changed. Of course, we have to invest money in staging. Staging is not something that you can save. I mean, you can save on it, but it's not something that you can do without. You got to have proper staging. And then we took, I know Justin took very nice photography, so that was very, very helpful. And of course, I think the photography, the staging, and the pricing, they work together to give us the best outcome for our seller. Now we're in the driver's seat because we can pick the highest bid, and then we can always also pick a backup offer. So that's nice. And that's the reason why I'm not as prepared today. I just want to be upfront and tell you, but I do have a lot of information I can share, particularly on the one on the ADU, because I made videos on the ADU, the new 2020 ADU. That's the law that was passed in January of 2020. Previous to that, there was another law that might have been passed 2018. That was the old ADU. See, the old ADU is very restrictive. Number one, the old ADU can only build ADU on R1 zoning. You cannot even build it in multifamily. And then they have very restrictive parking requirements on the old ADU. But the 2020 ADU new laws that was passed change everything. It makes so much easier to build ADUs on different kind of lots. Of course, now combined with SB 9 and SB 10, you're gonna see neighborhood gets more and more populated and more dense. So without further ado, let me start with today's first topic, the ADU. And that would have been something right here. But since I was ill prepared, I'm just going to tell you what are the highlights. Okay. Instead of showing the outline on the screen, I'm just going to tell you what the highlights are. Or I can go to share screen so you can see what notes I have prepared. Okay, whatever you prefer. Okay, if you want to see my notes, you have to bear with me because the writing might be a little small. Okay, so let me go ahead and see if I can share screen on this one. Okay, share screen. Yeah, I'm already on share screen, okay? Maybe that's not the right place to share screen on. So let me come over here. Now I'm gonna share screen so you can see my screen, okay? All right, now you can see my notes. Okay, again, I apologize. The words must be very, very small. but I can just use this as a guide to start telling you about the highlights for 2020 ADU laws. Number one, I'll just read it out loud so you can all hear it. Eliminate minimum lot size requirement. Isn't that great? I mean, it used to be that the cities can set the minimum lot size requirement. For example, if your lot is smaller than 5,000 square feet, they would not allow you to build an ADU. Now they don't. Now your lot size don't matter anymore. As long as you meet the rest of the requirements, you can have a lot smaller than 5,000 square feet. You can build your ADU on it. The second highlight is lower the rear setback requirements to no less than 4 feet. What that means is, some cities, they require a rear setback of as much as 20 feet. So now the rear setback requirement has been removed. If you want to build an ADU in your backyard, you can do it. You just need to make sure you got at least a 4 feet setback from the property line in the backyard. I'm talking about rear setback, not side, rear. Third highlight is they don't allow the city to use lot coverage, FAR, floor area ratio, and open space requirement to reject an application. If you don't know what a lot coverage is, basically that is the ratio between the footprint of the structures that are built on the lot to the overall lot size. That's what we call lot coverage. Floor area ratio, that has to do with the overall floor area of the building relative to the lot size, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, not the open house, open space. I meant to say open space requirement. The city cannot require the applicant to reserve open space on the lot as a prerequisite to approving the ADU. Okay. Number 4, if you're doing a garage conversion to convert your garage into an ADU, there is no need to compensate for the loss of the parking spaces. Isn't that great? You see, before, under the old law, if you convert a garage into an ADU, you have to compensate for it. In other words, you got to have enough open area on your lot to compensate for the parking spaces that are lost because your garage is no longer a garage. Your garage is now an ADU. Such requirement has been removed. Number 5, restrict the use of discretionary review of the size of the ADU. In other words, the city cannot have any kind of discretionary reviews as long as your ADU has a maximum of 850 square feet. In other words, your ADU does not exceed 850 square feet. The city has to remove it. The city can't say, well, even though the state says you can build up to 850 square feet, we're exercising our discretionary review. We're not going to let you build up to 850. Maybe we'll let you build something smaller. That is called discretionary review. ADU has to be ministerial. The difference between ministerial review and discretionary review is that ministerial review is basically rubber stamping. As long as you meet the state's requirement, they have to approve it. So they're basically removing the city's power to use discretion to approve or not approve an ADU. If your ADU is a 2-story ADU, you can build up to a maximum of 1,000 square feet. And again, no discretionary review. It has to be ministerial. Number 6, reduce the approval period to no more than 60 days. So once the application is submitted, the cities are allowed up to a maximum of 60 days to approve ADU. In other words, they cannot drag it on. They have to complete the review in 60 days. So that helps out the individual homeowners. Number 7, allow up to 800 square feet for attached ADU. So for attached ADU, you can now build up to 800 square feet. It used to be like 500, so now they increase it to 800. So that is nice. Number 8. I think number 8 is a big one. Number 8 is talking about multifamily zoning now allows ADU. That is really fantastic. This past weekend, I took a buyer to go see it is a single lot that is zoned for multifamily. It is a big lot. It's got 3 single-family residence structure on it. So one of the criteria, or at least one of the considerations that my buyer has to do, well, what else can I build over here? So for the 3 structures, that's the existing structure, the law allows us to put in 2 additional ADUs to generate more income. But she's more interested in subdividing. I frankly don't think you can subdivide, but the law allows you to build more ADUs. You can build 2-story ADU, about total 1,000 square feet, which means about 500 square feet footprint. And it's 1 story, so you can build 1 2-story and 1 single story, potentially. The single story one is 800 square feet maximum, and the 2-story one is 1,000. So potentially you can increase the rentable square footage by an additional 1,800 square feet by building 2 ADUs on that lot, which is not bad, which is still pretty good. Now number 9, R1 zoning now allows 2 ADUs. Isn't that nice? So it used to be that for R1 zoning, only 1 ADU may be built. Now they allow 2. However, one of them must be a junior ADU. If you don't know what a junior ADU is, a junior ADU is an ADU that is no more than 500 square feet. It cannot have its own bathroom or kitchen facilities. It has to share the bathroom and kitchen facilities with the main house. That's what a junior ADU is. So you can build a junior ADU, and in addition, you can build a detached ADU. So 2 ADUs can be added to single family zoning now. And then the new law does not allow the city to impose a minimum of 5 years before ADU can be sold. See, previously under the old law, once an ADU is built, there can be no sale of the property for the next 5 years. So that requirement has been eliminated. Number 11 is talking about amnesty for unpermitted addition. So let's say the property has an unpermitted addition in the past. They actually allow the owner. The owners are not required to demolish the unpermitted construction. The owner actually can apply to legalize the addition. Of course, you still have to meet the building and safety requirements, even if they allow you to legalize it. HOA now cannot restrict ADU. So if the current CC&R of the HOA prohibits ADU, that one is no longer valid. So even in communities where there is an HOA cannot say we don't allow you to build ADU. So that is allowed. That's another good thing or bad thing, depending on how you look at it. ADU cannot be used for Airbnb. That's the same. That law hasn't changed. If you own an ADU, they don't allow you to run Airbnb type business on it. You can use it for long-term rental. A minimum of 30 days are required. So if the property is within half a mile of rapid transit, only one parking per bedroom or one parking per unit is required. The lesser of the two applies. So I think in most cases, they have make it easier for people to build ADU by lowering the parking requirement, because right now one unit only requires one parking space. Okay, so that's a good thing. All right, and then number 16, if an old garage is demolished and reconstructed. Now, if you have an old garage that is demolished and then is reconstructed, as long as the footprint doesn't change. What that means is if your old garage was, let's say, 25 feet by 25 feet, you tear it down. When you rebuild the garage to make it into, when you rebuild the structure to make it into an ADU, your footprint cannot be larger than 25 feet by 25 feet. If you meet this requirement, then you don't have to replace the parking spaces that were lost because of the demolition of the garage. If the owner wants to legalize an unpermitted ADU, they are given 5 years to legalize it. So 5 years is a long time. So these are all the important highlights of the 2020 ADU. Well, if you can master this knowledge, you're gonna impress the hell out of your customers. That's why you gotta know this stuff. If you want to go on and make sales, you gotta know this stuff at your fingertips, so that if your buyer or your seller asks you about it, you'll be able to right away tell them what the answers are. Okay? All right, let's move on to the next topic. Right now, I want to go back to this particular slide. And now I want to talk about lead magnets. How agents can make use of lead magnets to build their database. You see, in our line of business, our business depends on our database. If we don't have database, it is tough being a real estate agent. Now, one of the mistakes I made in the past is that I had opportunities after opportunities after opportunities to build my database, but I did nothing to build my database. That was shame on me. See, when I was younger, back in 2012, oh my God, I've been going around California giving speeches and seminars, and a lot of people sign up with their emails and phone numbers. I got a bunch of emails and phone numbers, but I did not make use of them. I did not properly manage my database. So I did not even need solid lead magnets. But of course, back in those days, we were still using newspapers for advertisements. I use a little bit of Facebook for advertisement. I will have people responding to my Facebook ad, providing their names and phone number and email. Okay. Sometimes I would require them to provide both emails and telephone number. Other times, I just require them to provide email because I was afraid that if I require them to put both their email and their phone number, they would not sign up for my seminar. So in those instances, I still got their emails though. I never really do anything about it. I mean, they were just sitting there. I could have done something about it because there's a lot of, many of them are landlords, property owners. And if I maintain a good relationship with them, if I constantly put my face in front of them, then, I'm best remembered by them. So if they want to sell or buy, then the probability is greater that they'll think about me, right? So it's all about the database. If you can build, and that's why what we're doing right now is that I don't know about the individual agents in Centermac, how good a job they are. If they did as bad a job as I previously did concerning database, they are wasting a lot of opportunities. And this can be automated. I mean, you can set up drip campaigns, send out regular emails. You don't want to spam people, but at the same time, you have to keep in contact with them. Keeping in contact with them does not necessarily mean you have to call them all the time. Plus, they don't want you calling them all the time, especially when they don't have a need for your services. Why should they call you, right? So, but then you want to put your face in front of them through emails, newsletters, even text messages, right? Currently, we have Zip CRM. I purchased a phone number. We have to purchase phone number. We're getting like 1,000 credits for only $8 a month. That's rather inexpensive. Now, each credit is one text message, okay? So I can send up to 1,000 text messages at a cost of only $8 a month. Okay, that's rather inexpensive. If you place an ad, come to think of it, those ads on printed media are so darn expensive compared to the kind of money that we spend in CRM. Not a lot. I'm paying like $299 on the Zip CRM, and I currently can add 5 team members. Of course, the more team members I add, the more expensive it's going to get. But with that kind of money, I can run all sorts of a drip campaign. Now, let me just kind of share with you the kind of lead magnet that I use. One of my best lead magnet has to do with, as you know, I do a lot of videos on real estate and mortgage loan licensing. And I'm getting close to currently about 800 views per day. And my target is 1,000 views per day by the end of the year. And I think I can achieve that. For all the people that watch my videos, and they found out from my video, I got something that I don't make it public. And some of you that are currently our agents may have used the same thing before. That is one thing I don't make public because I use it as a lead magnet. So after the student watch my video, they learned that I got audio, the 3.5 hours audio that I use for final review, the 3.5 hours, basically I consolidate months of real estate principle lessons into 3.5 hours. That is a highly sought after asset that I have. I don't make it public. So in order for them to get my audio, which I've done a long time ago, and they're still pretty good because this is real estate principles. I mean, real estate principles don't change very much. So in order for them to get the audio, all right, no worries, as long as you're here, Kevin. Okay, in order for them to get my audio, which is precious by the way, they have to give up their email address and their phone number to me. And I would tell you, nearly 100% are willing to give up their email and phone number just to get the link to the 3.5 hours final real estate review to prepare for the exam. So the important thing is, the greater the value of the lead magnet, the more likely people are going to give up their email and the phone number in exchange for the information you want to share. Now, certainly, of course, you don't have access to my the same lead magnet I have. I'm just giving an example. But if I were to run, let's say, if I were to promote some landing pages on social media, such as Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, on my landing page, there would have to be a lead magnet. Something like 5 common mistakes that sellers make, or 5 common mistakes that buyers make. Now, if they want to know what they are, they will have to give up their email and the phone number in exchange for that. Kind of like seller's guide or buyer's guide, but this is not as valuable as the other lead magnet that I use. Okay, that one, the conversion is almost like 100%. Okay, this one may be a lot less because people say, well, why should I give up my email to you just for seller's guide or buyer's guide? Okay, but of course, if they do sign up for the buyer's guide and the seller's guide, then you know these are motivated people that are interested, because they're probably not going to give up their emails just to get the seller's guide and buyer's guide unless they are in the market to either sell their home or to buy their homes. So these are motivated people. Now, once they click on the landing page and input their phone number, their name, phone number, and the email, they will get an auto response saying that, thanking them for reaching out. And then immediately they will get an auto email response. That auto email response basically will give them what they're looking for. So if people submit their information, they want to get it right away. So you can set up a drip campaign. So it could be like depending on who the prospects are. If they are not hot buyers or hot sellers, you can run a longer term drip campaign, like a 12 touch, or, something that will last for a longer period of time, like 3 months. So that's what I mean. So if you're making no matter what you do, whether you are doing a seminar, I know Lily does a lot of seminar. If you're doing a seminar, before you end your seminar, throw a lead magnet to see who bites. Now, of course, the nice thing about doing seminar is that oftentimes they will give up their email and even phone number just to reserve a seat for your seminar, right? So that is easily obtained. But if it's not like a seminar, if you're just doing a video, at the end of the video, you may say something, you may throw a lead magnet, say if you click the link in the description, I have a link that will give you all the information that you need to know about the city of Fremont. If you want to know the school district or whatever school information in the city of Fremont, there is a link in the description. If you click that link, you will be directed to a web page that has that information. But once they arrive at the web page, there will be an intake form. They have to go in and fill in their name, phone number, and address just to get the information. It can be anything. It can be a booklet. So you offer something of value in terms of information or convenience so that they're willing to give you their email. Okay, so that's what a lead magnet is for. That's just to give an example. what are the features of a good lead magnet? I already described that. So let's go ahead and talk about the next topic. How to win friends and influence people. Rule 12. If you are wrong, admit quickly and emphatically. I think my past experience is oftentimes the more I try to defend myself. If I do something wrong, I know if I do something wrong, if my spouse finds out about it, if I don't immediately admit it, the more I try to hide things, the more I try to distort the story, the worse it's gonna get. So if let's say I have a doctor's appointment and I have not been very responsible for my health, one of the first things that I do when I go see the doctor is, before the doctor say anything about my health, first thing I'm gonna do is, doctor, I have not been very responsible for my health. I don't do this, I don't do that. And to my surprise, and at the end, I say, you know what, you have every right to be upset at me. But, and then the more you try to review yourself, the more they will say, oh, don't worry about it, it's not that big of a deal. Now, same thing when you get investigated by the Department of Real Estate, or if you are an MLO, you get investigated by either the Department of Real Estate or the DFPI in California. Big no-no. If you destroy evidence, if you hide evidence, you are in bigger trouble than you otherwise would be in if you simply admit the mistake and apologize quickly and emphatically. Okay. Same thing with, this morning I got a phone call from my seller, one of my sellers, and he said, hey, Kenny, I tried to call you the last couple of days. I couldn't get through to you. Of course, last couple of days I was extremely busy. And immediately he said that, I told him, hey, you know what, so-and-so, I am so sorry. I should have responded quicker, reply quicker. No need to try to defend, okay? One of the worst things you can say is that, oh, I did not notice your phone call come in. You didn't notice, or you just ignore my phone call, okay? You might as well admit it. I saw your phone number came in, and I really was so busy that, I have to admit I did a very bad job of responding to your phone call. I am very, very sorry about that. If you apologize quickly and emphatically, you get a different reaction from your customers than if you're trying to say, oh, I didn't see your phone call come in. I never got your email. You might as well say, yeah, I did get it, but I'm just so sorry. I meant to call you, but I got so busy. So next time I will respond sooner. So that's another thing. I think the impact will be less. I think that the regulators, if you get investigated by the DRE, don't try to hide anything. Give them whatever they're looking for and just apologize for what happened. If you've ever been audited by the IRS, okay, you might as well tell them, hey, I messed up. I totally screwed up on this one. I'm so sorry. Okay. I need help. Can you help me? Okay. Be humble. Don't try to defend and hide things. Okay. I think you'll get a better outcome. All right. Finally, what is it? What are the common prospective seller objections and how to handle them? I only got 2 for you today because I wasn't well prepared. Okay. First one is, oh, you are not local. You are from out of town. Okay. Now, first of all, that is an objection. To be honest with you, when Michael and I, we were driving all over California to sign listings, we almost never get an objection like that, even though they know very well that we're from out of town. I mean, we could be signing listings in Elk Grove. Of course, we did have an Elk Grove office in Elk Grove, so that would not be a good example. But it was interesting. For example, we will sign a listing that is out, in a very distant area. I can't even remember the name of the town. It was such a small town. The seller know we're not local. They never question us because that may not be the most important factor for them, but it could be that you did not impress them as much in your listing presentation, where the trust is not there. If the trust is there, that question never comes up. But if it does come up, I will handle it by saying that local knowledge doesn't sell homes. It's true. Just local knowledge alone does not sell homes. So what does it take to sell homes? Is the skills that a person has in selling homes. See, a person may have all sorts of local knowledge. They know the school well. They know the whole city very well. Now, certainly, if you're at an open house, you have a buyer that shows up. Okay, you can converse with the buyer about the local information. Definitely, you will impress the buyer more. But this is information that you can actually learn after the fact. I remember 2 years ago when Michael and I, we signed the listing in Walnut Creek, and the seller knew we were not local. The seller knew we were from Southern California, and the seller still gave us the listing. So what does that tell you? Local knowledge doesn't sell home. Okay, now, so what sells home? Is the ability of, let's see what Jean Riley said. So Jean, you got rejected by a buyer who's looking to buy in San Diego because I have not sold in that what? In that particular zip code? Don't feel bad about that. That is such a minority. That only means that you did not impress them enough, because a zip code, you never saw a home in that zip code and they rejected you. 3.5 million. Oh well, it happens, so don't worry about it. Okay? I mean, it could happen to any of us. There's plenty of fish in the ocean, so you lose some, you gain some, right? So just be honest with people, though. Okay? Oh, by the way, remember I shared with you that listing in Brentwood, right? In 2 days, me and the other local agent, we're going back to see him. Okay? And speaking of that, I need to send a text message to confirm the appointment with him. I don't know if he's still hiring me, but remember, sometimes it's better if you know of an objection. Sometimes, you can actually throw in an objection. You can actually throw in an objection handler before the objection arises. So that was a good example, because one of the first things that I told him, we sat down. I know he was impressed with me about certain things. So I basically handled the objection before the objection happened. So I said to him, I'm not a local agent. I had to be very honest with you. Okay? And he said, that's not why we want to hire you. So don't worry about it. You know what I mean? So sometimes you just let them know. And of course, I also throw in that I also get a sense that you did not hire me because I'm not a local agent. However, in order for me to properly do your listing, I need to be able to partner with a local agent, and he's okay with that. Okay, so what? So Gene, next time when you get something like that, you might want to be upfront and say, hey, I never had any experience selling a home in this particular zip code, but you know, I have other skills that I bring to you, the other value that I bring to you, other than just the local knowledge in that zip code. I know many other zip codes in San Diego, and I've been selling real estate in San Diego for the last 5 years. If you think that, that is something that I don't have, don't worry about it. I can always partner with somebody that specializes in that zip code. Wouldn't it be better to have 2 agents serving you than one? See, you cannot make all of that money, and that's a $3.5 million buyer. Even if you get like a 2% on the commission, each one of you are going to make $35,000, which is better than zero anyway. So once that objection is raised, or even before that objection, I don't know, this is a unique situation. So, but as soon as it comes up, immediately handle it. Let's say, I admit that I never sold a property in this particular zip code, but I have sold over 100 homes in the past 5 years in the city of San Diego. And San Diego is a big area. It is hard to cover every single zip code. Okay, so if I have not sold any properties in zip code, it is to be expected in every zip code. Unless I sold thousands of homes in San Diego, it is impossible for me to have covered every single zip code. However, I'll be more than happy to help you by partnering with a local agent, and we can provide our respective services to you. So we each specialize in different things, in combination will provide a better service for you than if one of us individually is handling the representation. So just kind of handle that, okay? Even though we're talking about handling a common prospective seller objection today, but we did learn something about that objection. See, when you handle objection, you got to be really quick. I think it's only human nature that when we get an objection, we become defensive, and we kind of like don't know what to do, okay? I mean, you got to be quick on your feet when you get an objection like that. Immediately say, oh yeah, I totally understand that. Okay, I understand your concern, but don't be concerned, because you know why? I can always find someone to work with me. That way we can both serve you and find you your perfect home in this particular zip code. All right, with that note, I'm ending today's presentation, and I thank you everybody for showing up. It's been great sharing with you, and I will see you next Tuesday night. We got good attendance today, 35 people, so that's great. See you next time.